Number 7. Craig Thomas. In a twisted tale that a judge later deemed as the epitome of the worst domestic abuse he had ever encountered, the life of Welsh woman Charlotte Rooks was marred by unimaginable horrors at the hands of her ex-boyfriend Craig Thomas. The nightmarish ordeal unfolded back in 2013, when Thomas, in a fit of brutality, subjected Rooks to a series of heinous tortures. His acts included beating her with hammers, stabbing her, forcing her to sleep naked and standing up, and even compelling her to consume photographs and jewelry of her deceased loved ones. Throughout the ordeal, law enforcement officers visited the former couple's flat repeatedly, while Rooks was ensnared in this nightmare. However, they tragically failed to grasp the gravity of the situation. This failure became a haunting chapter in Rooks's life, leaving indelible scars, both physical and emotional. While the South Wales police later issued a formal apology to Rooks, it offered little solace as she continues her arduous journey toward healing. Thomas, after his conviction, was sentenced to 10 years in prison. Yet in a deeply unsettling turn of events, he was released in 2019, having served only half his sentence. However, his freedom was short-lived, as he was swiftly sent back to prison for violating his parole. It wasn't until 2023 that he completed his full sentence and was released again, although with stringent restrictions. He is now prohibited from setting foot in Cardiff, the city where Rooks currently resides. In a bid to suppress the news of his release, Thomas attempted legal measures, seeking a gag order. However, the court rejected his request, ensuring the public remain aware of his presence. Despite these legal safeguards, Rooks remains gripped by fear. She lives with the constant dread that Thomas might disregard the rules meant to protect her. To compound her anxiety, she was not informed of Thomas's specific whereabouts upon his release, leaving her in a perpetual state of unease. Number 6. The Cookie Monster Killer. In a chilling incident that shocked Australia in September 2020, 43-year-old Rebecca Payne poisoned her 68-year-old husband Noel Payne with cookies laced with a potent sleeping medication. Following this, she wrapped Noel's lifeless body in a blanket, sealing it with duct tape, and put him in a freezer, a fate that he may have endured while still alive. To add to the gruesome tale, Rebecca then went on a spending spree, using her deceased husband's credit card. As suspicions arose about Noel's disappearance, Rebecca attempted to trick those around her, claiming that he had voluntarily left their home. However, her lies quickly unraveled, leading to the discovery of Noel's lifeless body. While Rebecca's actions were universally condemned as barbaric, her defense attorney presented a disturbing narrative in court. According to Rebecca's lawyer, the couple had experienced a turbulent relationship, separating in 2012 only to reconcile the following year. During their separation, Noel had become involved with another woman, who intriguingly continued to live with the Paynes until the very night of Noel's tragic demise. Despite Rebecca's claims of being the victim of Noel's abuse, the court found her guilty of murder. Her defense, while painting a complex picture of their relationship, did not absolve her of the crimes she committed. She was given a 16-year prison sentence, with the stipulation that she must serve a minimum of 10 years behind bars before being considered for parole. Number 5. Aaron Uchal. In 2016, a young mother named Prosper Ortega from Atlanta, Georgia, endured a nightmare at the hands of her husband, Aaron Uchal. 23-year-old Prosper suffered horrifying brutality as Aaron repeatedly struck her in the face so hard that he shattered the orbital bone around one of her eyes. It did not end there, as Aaron also inflicted severe injuries to her legs. Trapped in this house of horrors, Prosper spent her days in excruciating pain and fear. It was Prosper's mother, Fawn, who became the unlikely savior in this tragic story. Growing increasingly concerned about her daughter's well-being due to her isolation from family and friends, Fawn decided to check on her. When Aaron, the tormentor, refused her entry into the house, Fawn's maternal instincts kicked into high gear, and she fought her way inside. What she encountered was a scene of unspeakable horror. The sight of Prosper's battered and bruised face left no room for doubt, prompting Fawn to immediately contact the police. By this time, Prosper's injuries were so severe that she could no longer open her eyes. She was swiftly transported to a nearby hospital, where medical professionals worked tirelessly to repair her shattered face. The silver lining in this tale of darkness was that she was reunited with her newborn baby during her hospital stay. Aaron, in a feeble attempt to downplay his atrocities, admitted to hitting Prosper a couple of times, as reported by the police. However, the overwhelming evidence against him spoke volumes, leading to his prompt arrest and detention without bond. Meanwhile, Prosper embarked on a long and arduous journey of recovery, spanning several years and numerous surgeries. Despite the physical and emotional scars, she showed remarkable resilience and strength. Aaron eventually pleaded guilty to a litany of charges, including 4 counts of aggravated battery, 2 counts of aggravated assault, 1 count of false imprisonment, and 1 count of influencing a witness. He was sentenced to a lengthy prison term, ensuring that he will remain behind bars for many years to come, while Prosper continues her path toward healing and recovery. Number 4. Lara Paige Conley. In Independence, Kentucky, a tragic tale unfolded within a family, revealing the dark complexities of domestic violence. Lara Paige Conley, known as Paige, exhibited attention-seeking behavior and a disregard for rules from a young age, traits that only intensified over time, according to her older sister Ginger Getz. Ginger, speaking on ID channel series Evil Lives Here, lamented that something within Paige seemed deeply disturbed, describing it as a sense that something was just rotten inside. Paige, instead of pursuing independence, continued to live with her mother Carleen well into her adulthood. Their relationship was marred by Paige's verbal abuse, which eventually escalated into physical violence. Carleen, feeling obligated to care for her troubled daughter, found herself in a precarious situation. The breaking point arrived in 2015, when an argument over a birthday dinner escalated. Paige's anger boiled over, and in a fit of rage, she attacked her mother. The confrontation turned deadly when Paige grabbed a knife, repeatedly stabbing Carleen until she succumbed to her injuries. In a baffling attempt to deflect blame, Paige concocted various inconsistent stories for the police, including falsely accusing Carleen of initiating the violence. These fabrications crumbled under scrutiny, leading to Paige's conviction for murder. A jury found her guilty, and she received a sentence of 27 years in prison. When she eventually regains freedom, she will be 66 years old. During Paige's sentencing hearing, Ginger expressed her profound disdain for her sister, denouncing her as ugly and sick to the marrow of her bones. Number 3. Jesse Winnick. In 2007, 22-year-old Amy Chesler's world shattered when she could not reach her mother, Hadis Winnick, during her routine drive home from work. Her anxiety escalated when her brother, 25-year-old Jesse Winnick, cryptically warned her not to return home. Panicked, Amy persistently called her brother until he finally answered, delivering a chilling revelation. He had killed their mother. Devastated and horrified, Amy immediately dialed 911 and, driven by desperation, rushed home, despite the dispatcher's caution to stay outside, fearing the killer might still be lurking within. Inside the house, she discovered her mother, lifeless and face down in a pool of blood, a gruesome scene that would haunt her forever, with a knife protruding from her shoulder. Amy later revealed the dark truth. Jesse had subjected both her and their mother to a decade-long cycle of abuse, leading up to the tragic murder. The catalyst for this brutal attack was shockingly mundane. Jesse's anger ignited when Hadis asked him to clean up after making a sandwich. The escalation from a trivial request to a gruesome crime stunned everyone who heard the tale. Despite confessing to the crime, Jesse vehemently fought the charges of matricide. It took prosecutors 4 grueling years to secure a conviction. Shockingly, his sentence was a mere 15 years to life, a seemingly inadequate punishment for such a heinous crime. A Change.org petition emerged, urging authorities to keep Jesse incarcerated beyond the initial 15-year term, highlighting his escalating violent behavior even behind bars. Disturbingly, at his first parole hearing, he allegedly threatened the lives of his remaining family members. Fortunately, the parole board recognized the danger he posed and opted not to release him. Subsequently, he faced new convictions for crimes committed within the prison walls, leading to a significantly extended sentence, a consequence reflective of the ongoing menace he represents. Number 2. David Schaeffer. In January 2018, the quiet town of Salem, Ohio, was rattled when first responders were summoned to the home of retired law enforcement officer Delbert Schaeffer. His live-in son David had made the distressing call, stating that he had discovered his father unresponsive. Initially deemed a natural death, the grim reality surfaced when a medical examiner determined that Delbert had been brutally bludgeoned to death. While Delbert had upheld the law during his lifetime, his son David was marred by a different, darker story. At the time of the incident, David was on parole for burglary and theft-related offenses, possessing a violent history that immediately raised suspicion among the police. Based on evidence at hand, investigators constructed a chilling theory. David had assaulted his father and callously left him to perish instead of seeking assistance. Allegedly, he attempted to sanitize the crime scene before finally dialing 911. When questioned about the delay in calling for help, David claimed he had initially contacted a nurse friend. The supposed friend arrived, David claimed, using a stethoscope to check on Delbert, yet he conveniently could not recall the friend's name. Detectives, however, uncovered a disturbing truth. David had recently stolen his father's entire gun collection, intensifying their mounting suspicions. Despite David's claims that he had given the firearms away, most were discovered meticulously hidden in a concealed room barricaded behind a table and a stack of books. Subsequently, David faced severe charges, including murder, tampering with evidence, and a weapon-related offense. In a heart-wrenching revelation during an interview with ID channel series Evil Lives Here, David's stepmother, Deborah Williamson, disclosed the unsettling roots of his behavioral issues, tracing them back to his childhood. She described him as manipulative and defiant, recounting past threats he had made against her. In the courtroom, David pleaded guilty to a reduced charge of first-degree manslaughter, striking a deal that led to a 14-year prison sentence. During his sentencing hearing, he professed his love to his late father, denied his violent tendencies, and expressed his daily longing for Delbert. However, prosecutors vehemently opposed this narrative. To them, David was a violent ex-convict, ungratefully repaying his father's kindness by mercilessly beating him to death after being taken in when he had nowhere else to turn. Number 1. Craig Lester Thrift. In 1991, the peaceful town of Waycross, Georgia, was shaken by the mysterious disappearance of 23-year-old Terry Eugene Rouse. After attending a party, Terry vanished without a trace. His car was discovered abandoned in a swamp, engine running, radio playing, and windows wide open, with some of his personal belongings left behind inside. Initially, law enforcement assumed Terry had fled town, influenced by his escalating drug issues and mounting debts. However, the case took a sinister turn when investigators discovered Terry's involvement with Rhonda Thrift, the wife of his first cousin and close friend Craig Lester Thrift. Rhonda and Craig divorced in the aftermath of Terry's disappearance, casting shadows of suspicion over the Thrift family. For 2 decades, Terry's fate remained a haunting enigma, leading authorities to reluctantly consider him deceased and officially close the case due to lack of concrete evidence. However, lingering suspicions of foul play persisted among investigators, prompting the case's eventual reopening. In 2012, the spotlight shifted to Craig, who not only gave Terry a ride to work on the day he went missing, but also had previously refused to undergo a lie detector test. Although Terry's remains were never recovered, the mounting circumstantial evidence led authorities to charge Craig with murder. At the time of his arrest, Craig was married to his second wife, Robin Barry. She later disclosed to ID channel series Evil Lives Here that their marriage, which started peacefully, spiraled into a cycle of abuse. Robin shockingly revealed that Craig had frequently mentioned killing Terry and dumping his body in a swamp. Initially dismissing these remarks, Robin eventually realized their horrifying truth. Fearful for her life due to Craig's threats, she hesitated to speak out initially. However, her courage prevailed, leading her to testify against Craig in court. In 2014, Craig was convicted of killing Terry and was sentenced to 7 years to life in prison. Although incarcerated, records confirm that he remains behind bars, serving his time for the heinous crime he committed. Terry's story, one shrouded in mystery, serves as a chilling reminder of the persistence of justice, even after years of darkness and uncertainty. Thanks for watching. Would you rather live in a house with a monster for a year, or live on a deserted island for a year? Let us know which would be worse in the comments below, and remember to subscribe. See you next time on Bad Badger.